this is muesli bread that you're looking at there.
I could have one of those.
Yeah, I make up my own muesli and then add it to a dough just as we mixed it sort of thing. So.
That's lovely.
Yeah. Hello, welcome to the Bath and My Show. First things first, I'm Steve from Oxford's Bakery in Sherborne. So I'm going to do some little cherry buns, look a little bit like crowns. And I'm going to bake them in some little silicone sort of cupcake cases. All I'm doing here, I've just got a white dough. It's really nice and fermented. You can tell when it's fermented. When you're able to pull the dough, you can stretch and stretch and stretch and stretch, and you can form what's called a window. So when you can see light through the dough, and actually pretty much can actually, if I'm honest, that's when you know that your dough is okay. Anyway, I'm just going to flatten these out to start with, and then smear a little bit of butter. I'm very generous, just chopping the cherries in half. Frank Oxford, my great-grandfather, used to wait for my dad to come off of the school bus when he was 12 years old every Thursday when our stock delivery used to come in, and then he would make Dad chop all the cherries into thirds. Every single one, he'd chop it into thirds so he could string the box out, because they were a lot more expensive in those days. Just folding over with my fingers to start with, and then I'm going to sort of roll like a Swiss roll type shape up. So I've got a big sort of sausage there, a big sort of snake of dough. The actual physical task of baking is very easy. At the moment there's a bit of a bread baking renaissance going on. We've had so much hardship over the years, us poor lowly bakers. Out of all the bread baked in Britain, only 2% of it is baked by bakers like myself, small family businesses. And so we've been in the village of Alweston making bread using just 4 main ingredients. That is flour, water, yeast and salt. So I'll put in a teaspoon of yeast, something like that, and some water. A little bit of salt, just a half a teaspoon, so it's always a good measure. If you've got a pound of flour, like, you can always use a half a pint of water, and then you use a teaspoon of yeast, use half a teaspoon of salt. So the ratio is always 2 to 1, 2 to 1 when you're making bread. Now I've only mixed that round, let's say, I don't know, 5-6 times around the bowl, and I can already see that that's already a dough. There's lots of dry residual dough there, so what I'm going to do is just add a little bit more water just to soak that up. It should take several hours, really, at the bare minimum, to get a loaf of bread from raw ingredients into a baked loaf. So we've got our nice little cherry buns here. There's a nice sort of little Swiss rolled sort of swirled effect there. So I'm going to share these out so they get relatively evenly baked. So 2 lots of 5. Put them into my giant oven here. Hope they don't get lost. There we go. And I'll leave those in to bake. When you see them going black, the smoke coming out the front, do just wave, won't you, so I know what's going on. Then we've got our spelt dough, and that's just beginning to start to rise. Now I put quite a lot of yeast in. I can really smell the yeast in there. That was only like 10 or 15 minutes, and you're already starting to get into some form of fermented dough. And if you ever get a chance to get a little bit of West Indian, it is exceedingly nice, much more rounded flavour. All I'm going to do is just chuck a bit of this just on the top. I'm not going to be able to bake it much because I haven't got much room in my 1911 ovens there. And then we'll just make a quick cheese and onion spelt focaccia loaf. You get a free fingernail with every one of these. And then I like to fold the corners over, and it creates a little sort of volcanoed effect. So it comes out like a fairly flat loaf, and then when you chop into it, it's like almost a heart shape with a cheese and onion sort of crust. There we go. To be fair, these are pretty good little things, aren't they? I'm going to get everything in a right sticky old mess here. I am so sorry, but it's half the fun, isn't it? I will cut them like that, and you just help yourself. So these are just great big hot sticky messes at the moment, but they'll do. All right? Well, I've done my bit, haven't I? Yeah, there we are. They've made a sale.
I'll do it for a pan, so I've got much change here.